In a magical world, little Zagan is forced to fight for his life as a homeless kid. After an evil sorcerer captures the miserable kid to perform cruel experiments on him, he swears he'll become stronger to change his pathetic life. After years of training, the kid becomes a powerful sorcerer, feared by everyone. A feared sorcerer named Zagan lives in his castle. Inside, Zagan faces a problem his magic can't solve. A beautiful elf, kneeling before him, quietly asks how she'll be executed. Zagan, who hasn't even been in the same room as a woman before, wonders how to tell her he likes her. To explain what had happened, we rewind to the day before. Outside Zagan's fortress, a sinister man approaches a young girl with ill intent. Unmasking his true sorcerer identity, he tries to assault her, but Zagan intervenes and pops his head like a balloon. Watching this, the girl passes out from shock. To ease the girl's trauma, Zagan erases the horrifying scene with magic, hoping she will believe it is a nightmare. Discovering she is with the church, the sworn enemies of the sorcerer, Zagan chooses to protect her anyway. During an attempt to transport her to safety, Zagan encounters his friend Barbatos, who requests the girl for sacrificial experiments. Zagan refuses, eventually teleporting her away. Then, news of one of the 13 Archdemon's deaths prompts Zagan to attend an auction for the powerful sorcerer's treasures. Accompanied by Barbatos, Zagan contemplates their motives. Barbatos asks for money, offering to assist Zagan in acquiring women, though Zagan remains disinterested. They discuss sorcerers recently kidnapping women for some strange rituals, but Zagan just laughs it off. There, they see Gramarye the Enchantress and Valifor the Apparition, two powerful candidates for becoming the new Archdemon. At the same time, Gramarye and Valifor also seem interested in the two, knowing they're also candidates who might become the Archdemon instead. After their discussion, the announcer begins the auction and introduces the first good. This good turns out to be a living person, a beautiful elf girl with rare powers. As the audience gasps in amazement, Zagan seems to be experiencing a different battle. Seeing the mysterious girl finally awakens his dormant hormones, and before the announcer can even finish, he desperately bids 1,000,000 gold coins on the girl. Even the creep Barbatos gets shocked that his friend is such a desperate loser. As Zagan flashes a maniacal grin at him, Barbatos feels chills running down his spine as he watches him walk down. Once Zagan is in front of the elf, though, he returns to his primal virgin state as he feels his mouth completely shut. While he wonders how to speak to the girl, the announcer introduces all of the girl's specialities to him. He then notices a collar around her neck and learns that it's a servant seal no one knows how to open. He notices the girl being unusually quiet and asks if she's being forced to remain quiet. However, after learning that the girl isn't hypnotized, just broken, Zagan grins, saying he'll enjoy hearing her sweet sounds. This horrifying sentence creeps out everyone in the area. Later, Zagan takes the elf girl to his castle. There, he realizes he's horrible at talking to women before the girl asks about her fate. Panicked, Zagan reassures her of her safety, easing her fears about the castle's torture tools left behind by its previous owner. Struggling to talk to her, Zagan hesitates to ask about her past. The elf, Nephelia, reveals she is cursed, born without a last name and parents. Zagan realizes she has a similar past as him, while Nephi wonders why he's so interested in her background. She proves to the blushing Zagan that she is still seal-packed. He tells her that's not what he wanted, which leaves her confused as to why he even brought her. Then he decides to take her to her room. Escorting her to her room, Zagan catches Nephelia in a romantic gesture, flustering him. As he opens the door to her room, Nephi sees a massive guillotine in front of her. As the girl prepares for her death, Zagan reassures her before cleaning the room in the right way, by going Hiroshima on it. A worried Zagan then takes her inside, but figures that the poor servant finds even an empty room a blessing. Nephi then goes out of the room and sees the sky, feeling happy that she'll be able to see this sight from her place. Zagan stands with her and thus begins a new chapter in his life with this special person in it. The next day, Zagan sleeps on his throne, with Nephelia sleeping nearby due to lacking a bed. He wakes up and leaves to get some food. After he comes back, Nephi wishes him good morning, which leaves him confused. Screaming inside, Zagan coldly tells the elf he brought food as she watches in confusion. As they sit down to eat a boring meal of meat, jerky, and milk, Nephelia wonders why Zagan is having a servant's food. He realizes he has been used to eating scraps and rotting food his entire life, and the elf watches her powerful yet clueless master with concern. Even the servant takes pity on the poor sorcerer and offers to cook food for him. Zagan gets delighted that his favorite girl will make a meal for him and sets out to buy groceries with her. On their way to the city, Zagan tries taking a carriage, but realizes he blew all his money on Nephi. His broke ram swallows his pride and walks on foot instead. Thinking that he should have just robbed the carriage owner instead, he realizes Nephi wouldn't have really liked that. Thankfully, some bandits show up to rob the carriage in his place. Zagan takes the chance to show off in front of Nephi and fights the robbers for her. The bandits get afraid of his powers and call out for their own sorcerer friend. Zagan wonders why a sorcerer would bully weak people. He dismantles the sorcerer like Lego before the other bandits piss themselves and run off. Nephi seems a bit scared of Zagan's power, while the grateful carriage owner thanks him and offers him money to protect the carriage during their trip. The confused sorcerer wonders if the owner isn't afraid because of Nephi by his side. With money now in hand, Zagan reaches the city with Nephi. He wonders what to buy for his servant and enters a clothes shop first. The shopkeeper brightens up at Nephi's sight, but quiets down upon seeing the collar on her. Zagan thinks about getting rid of that collar later before he's greeted by Nephi in a very sus outfit. This leaves them both blushing, and Nephi finally settles for a normal maid outfit. Before they leave the shop, the shopkeeper tells Nephi she should be happy her master isn't a pervert and cares about her. Then he tries to ask a goods vendor how to take off her collar. The man tells him there that the Archdemon's palace must have the magic key to open it. Zagan thanks him and prepares to pay, but the man reminds him that he had actually saved his life a long time ago, but he is unable to thank him out of fear. The sorcerer dismisses his worries before leaving with Nephi, while the shopkeeper wonders why the scary sorcerer is so easy to talk to now. Afterward, before heading home, Zagan heads to a restaurant with Nephi. There, she asks what he'll do if she runs away after getting her freedom. Zagan doesn't reply, and Nephi smiles, knowing he won't stop her even if she does. They then have a luxurious meal, which turns into a feeding contest between the two of them. As the rest of the people watch the couple in love, they head out with streaming red faces. Later at night, we see the church girl Zagan saved. A priest from the church tells her that Zagan is behind the kidnappings and must be taken out. The girl, who remembers that he saved her life, doesn't want him to get hurt and offers to look for him herself. The next day, Zagan wakes up from a nightmare of a cruel sorcerer torturing him, an awful memory. Thankfully, a cute maid greets him with breakfast ready, and he quickly forgets all his troubles. When he enters the dining hall, he is shocked to see the once graveyard, now a proper hall. He sits inside with bread in front of him, feeling like he isn't worthy enough of such grand cuisine. However, once he realizes Nephi didn't cook breakfast for herself, he tells her to share with him and gets her to sit on his lap since she didn't get a chair for herself. The embarrassed elf complains about it, but a blushing Zagan simply enjoys being so close to her. Later, Nephi approaches Zagan in his library, curious about the spells he studies. He explains that sorcerers need to make a casting circle to cast their spells. Zagan also explains that creating another casting circle inside one would override it. But it would require full mana control to achieve it, which is only theoretically possible. Then, to learn more, Nephi tries to get some books for herself, but gets scared upon learning they're trapped. However, Zagan laughs, saying he was just joking and he had already removed the traps for her. Nephi feels embarrassed but happy upon his teasing, which Zagan notices from her flicking ears. Then she asks why he's training to become so powerful, and Zagan answers that he just needs strength to survive. He then explains his rough childhood while Nephi listens in shock. Meanwhile, outside his castle, some goons with the girl from the church approach Zagan's place. He immediately detects their presence and leaves after telling Nephi to prepare dinner. Outside the castle, a fight immediately breaks out, and Zagan easily gets one of the goons under his foot. He threatens to crush his head, but the girl doesn't believe he'll do it. Zagan is stunned that she knew, and the girl feels frustrated that a kind person like him has become a sorcerer. However, he points out the church is hypocritical enough to go after individuals like him who are only trying to survive. With a sacred sword, the girl manages to corner him and suddenly tells him to fake his death so the church will stop bothering him. Zagan knows she's committing a huge crime for his sake, but before he can accept, Nephi comes running out in concern. Suddenly, one of the other church goons launches a spear at the innocent girl. Zagan rushes to block it with his hand when suddenly a powerful force shocks everyone. An enraged Nephi attacks the goon with glowing eyes. Before she can erase every molecule from the man's body, Zagan stops her. Later, after the defeated church leaves, Zagan learns that Nephi doesn't have mana, but a strange power known as mysticism that's even stronger. Because of this power, she was called a cursed child by her village. One day, the village was attacked by robbers, and the cruel, arrogant villagers ordered her to protect them as payment for letting her live. This only shattered her, and Nephi quietly watched as everyone else was killed and she was enslaved. The elf feels guilty that she felt happy watching the villagers suffer, but Zagan tells her what she did was completely normal, and he would have killed the villagers himself. He then tells her the dead have no right to judge her, and that she is someone important to him. Having received the comfort she desperately needed to her, Nephi finally breaks into tears in his arms. What will be the future of Zagan and Nephi? Comment down your thoughts below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more anime recaps.